Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another entertaining episode of House of the Dragon by Story Archives. I'm your host, Mario Busto, alongside
the other host, Zachary Newton. Welcome back.
What's going on, Zach? How you doing? How's the weekend going? And most importantly, what'd you think of episode 7 titled The Red Sowing? And we could talk about what that name might mean, but first impressions before we get into the nitty-gritty deep dive that we do.
A phenomenal penultimate episode. I think that's literally the words that I text you when I finished watching this. I loved this episode. I feel like this was the dragon conquering episode I think we were expecting to get in the previous episode. And I will say, I look at the last episode in a new light after seeing this. I had mentioned that the last episode wasn't my favorite. It was a little slow, and not to say it was bad or anything like that, but it wasn't the best, and we didn't get much of any dragons. And after watching this, I'm glad we didn't get any like dragon conquering in the last episode, successful dragon conquering, really. Okay. Because I feel like I would have had the comment like, come on, it's too easy, right? So I like that little bit of pain that we had in the last episode there. Rest in peace, like that Kingsguard guy. But no, I'm thankful for that episode now, because this one was phenomenal. Loved it. How about you? What'd you think?
I mean, the more I watch this season, the more I watch this episode, I think people have to remember out there, and if this is your first episode, we are not book readers, so this is not a book readers pod, but I am a nerd, so I do listen to the book reader stuff. House of the Dragon is like not that many pages. Like the actual, like, these events is not that many pages. So the writers, the show writers, they're filling in the blanks. They'll have like a sentence or two, and then they're just filling in the blanks. And I've heard George R.R. Martin say that this is going to go like 4 or 5 seasons probably. And the pace of the season has been slow. I mean, it's been building, but I think it's fine. I just think that maybe expectations were that this was going to be legit, no pun intended, but fire and blood all the time, like just warring. And it's a lot of character arc. It's a lot of character building. And you see a lot of that in this episode. If you're looking at this from like an unbiased opinion, you would think right now Rhaenyra has this thing in the bag by the time you get to the end of this episode. But I think there's a lot of stuff going on that this could be maybe her biggest self-inflicted wound that she could have done, possibly. And we can discuss that more, but at the end of the day, right now, the sides have their side has way more dragons than the Greens. I mean, they have.
I took a count. You want me to run through it?
Yeah, please.
So the Greens right now, if I'm missing anything, let me know. But all I've got written down is Vhagar.
They got Vhagar. They have Sunfire, who's very wounded. They're very shady on the way.
I thought Sunfire was dead.
Not according to Kristen Cole. He says he's longed for the dying, which is too vague for me. That tells me that he's still alive. I think the book mentions that Sunfire was pretty much, his wings were destroyed, so he couldn't fly anymore. So he was feasting on the corpses on the field outside Rook's Rest. Okay. So he's probably alive, or she. I don't know if Sunfire's a boy or a girl, but and then you have Helena's dragon, Dream something. I forget what it's called. Maybe you can look that one up.
All right.
But Rhaenyra's side has like, I mean, you can go through the count.
Yeah. Rhaenyra's side has Vermithor, Vermax, Syrax, Sea Smoke, Caraxes, Moon Dancer, Silverwing. And if we really want to throw it in, Tyraxis, which is Joffrey's dragon, but really, really tiny. So they've got a lot. And don't forget, there's still this one mystery dragon, this wild dragon out there, right? Like we haven't seen yet. So there might be another one added to the mix. Who knows? But
so we've got essentially a 7-on-1 right now.
Pretty much.
They got a 7-on-1, which to me screams that somebody's going to flip allegiances. And that's the reason I said that this episode could possibly be one of Rhaenyra's biggest self-inflicted wounds. Why? Because there's a lot of characters who claim dragons in this episode, or who may claim a dragon in the next episode, that could have, a nit to pick with Rhaenyra. Okay, and we can go through the issues that they may have. And I have my list here, but let's discuss this. Who's most likely to turn against Team Black and go to Team Green, in your opinion, out of the following list? Rhaena, because I think we can all but assume she's going to get that dragon, sheep stealer, I think it's called. Rhaena, Addam of Hull, Ulf, which is the one who claims Silverwing rather clumsily, Hugh. I'm going to add Jason here, and Daemon. Who's for you personally? And then I'll run through why I think, each one, and we can kind of discuss it from there and then get into more of the episode even.
I would maybe throw Daemon and Ulf into the mix of people that might flip allegiances, or in Daemon's case, maybe just kind of be on his own side. I don't think Hugh is going to flip allegiances. Like, I feel like he's had it with Aemond and Aegon and that whole crew.
Okay.
Jake, though he feels deeply betrayed by the decisions of his mother. I don't see him turning on his mother necessarily. Not for the Greens, but could he go and branch off with Daemon, for example? I could potentially see something like that. But I feel like the reality of Daemon actually going off on his own is probably fairly slim. Like, I don't want to believe that would happen. I just have to realize it's definitely a possibility. Like, I feel like we're being led to believe that, okay, this is seriously a potential outcome here, but I don't think it's going to come to fruition. Okay. And who was the other ones you said? It was Baela and Rhaena?
No, not Baela. Rhaena. Addam. You already talked about. You didn't talk about Ulf yet.
I don't think Addam would. Ulf just seems like just a random wild card. Like maybe he just feels betrayed by all Targaryens or something. So I don't know that he would join the Greens. I feel like he could be one to go off and maybe join Daemon in this hypothetical scenario here.
Okay. So we can talk a little bit more about this here. There's a lot of people Rhaenyra is pissing off right now.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, top of my list for turncoat would be Hugh.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to spit my drink out for that one. Why?
Yeah, I know. Because at first I was on your camp at the start of the episode. Like, Hugh, by the way, really great plot twist there. I did not see that coming at all. Hugh being a Targaryen, I did not see that coming at all. According to what he says to his wife, Kat, he is the nephew.
His mother.
He's the
was
nephew.
The aunt to Viserys and Daemon.
Okay, so they are his cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're his cousins.
That's what I understood it.
I mean, he's pretty close to the throne, to be honest with you, by bloodline. In terms of, like, there was a point where there wasn't many left. Yeah. He talks to his wife. He mentions he couldn't save his daughter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter was sick, but the person responsible for the blockade was Rhaenyra. Okay.
It's true. That's a very valid point.
His wife is still in the city. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The Greens have a way of getting news faster than TMZ does. Okay. Because the moment Addam took over Silverwing, you had Ironrod talking to Larry saying, "I've heard a whisper of a dragon rider." I mean, like, that to me is kind of ridiculous, by the way, how fast news travels in this world. Although we don't know how much time had passed. But nonetheless, it was a little bit too fast for my liking. Yeah. So there's that. What if they find out now, okay, there's two more dragon riders. One of them is this guy named Ulf, and this other guy is named Hugh. Oh, Hugh has a wife who lives in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take her hostage against Hugh. That seems almost inevitable that it's going to happen, right? Seems almost inevitable. At that point, what does Hugh do? Does he turn to go to Aemond? Does he go serve Aemond? Does Aegon make a reappearance? He's gaining health. So I think he's at the top of the list because he's very principled, but at the same time, he values family over pretty much everything. You saw him punch a guy in the face for food in the last episode to feed his family. So if they're going to burn his wife at the stake, and by the way, let's not forget, she made him the second most powerful man in the kingdom by giving him Vermithor.
The second largest dragon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, if Vhagar goes down, he's got the biggest, baddest dragon there is. Those are all very valid points, though. We do have to continue to realize, though, that yes, while Rhaenyra was the one that got the blockade in place, it was Aemond that locked the gates and forced everybody to stay in when they were trying to travel out for food. And it was Rhaenyra who sent food to the city, right? Like, so while, yeah, you could maybe argue that the catalyst of this was the blockade, I feel like he's intelligent enough to realize, like, none of this was against him. None of it was against the people. She's very much for the people, and people like himself and his wife. I don't think it's out of the question, though, that Aemond or the Greens take his wife hostage. I think that is actually rather likely, considering he's not an unknown individual here. Like, no. He's the guy that built all of the dragon spearing weapons, right?
Pretty much.
There was a moment where I, like, once I realized he was gonna, like, conquer a dragon in this episode, I've been wondering ever since that point, like, is he going to be killed by his own invention or creation here?
That would be ironic as can be. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So who knows?
So I kind of just listed them off, and I wrote their reasons. So I stated Hugh's. I think it would be general anger against the blockade, fear of losing his wife. 2, I put Ulf, and I just put fear and self-interest because I think he's a slightly spineless character for the most part.
Seems like it.
Doesn't seem like a bad guy, but I could see him going whatever way the wind blows.
Yep.
Jace, I don't see him turning on his mother ever, so this is very low on the totem pole for me. But now he feels like just another bastard because technically now you got all these other people who have dragons. So she has made her son's claim all of the more difficult whenever she passes away.
Yes.
Daemon, I put ambition. However, he has this dream, and there's a couple moments in this episode that are key with Daemon. But the key one really is the dream of Viserys.
Yeah.
Who, for the first time ever, every one of his dreams is how he's unworthy of the crown. This is the first dream he's had where Viserys hands him the crown, or goes to
offers
him
it
the
to
crown.
him, yeah.
Offers it to him. And for the first time, you really see Daemon have this hesitation towards the crown. You know, it's like almost Daemon is like, you know, wanted this girl who was hard to get, and then the girl is finally, you know, giving herself to him, and he's just like, you know, I'm no longer interested. Almost, you know, he's seen the destruction of this. He sees his brother on the bed. You know, his face is half deteriorated, and he talks about how the crown weighs on you, right? And Daemon has almost crossed every moral barrier of self-respect that one can have, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he's pretty much taken advantage of his niece, right? In a ton of ways. If you could argue that for sure. Even if the Targaryens are for the incest stuff to keep their bloodlines pure.
Yeah. He may have loved her, but yeah, I definitely think he's taken advantage of the situation.
Yeah, for sure. He killed his previous wife. Okay. He is responsible for a little baby being killed. Okay. All right. That's pretty gnarly. That's a pretty gnarly line to cross. And lastly, he's crossed this sort of honor, code. You know, you got Sir Willem Blackwood, who has pretty much, and by the way, I knew this was going to happen. Sir Willem Blackwood. I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod, but I know I thought it, which was that those actions that Blackwood was going to take was going to backfire, and Daemon was going to have to turn him in. However, I thought Daemon wouldn't have no issue turning on Sir Willem Blackwood. And you see this confliction on Daemon's face where he hates himself for killing this guy who pledged his life to serve him, right? And to me, that was almost the final, like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, right? Yeah. Where now he has this dream of Viserys, and now the crown is no longer appealing to him. After all these things he's done in the name of power, it's kind of no longer appealing to him. And so now you have this situation where he's not speaking to Rhaenyra, right?
Yeah.
We have 7 dragons now, okay? The armies are on their way marching probably towards Harrenhal, okay?
Yeah.
She has no idea she has a ground army. he has no idea that they got like 3 more dragons. Okay.
They've got all the damn dragons, dude.
So they're in a prime position to piss away their advantage completely because of their lack of coordination, right? Like I think they are most certainly going to piss away their advantage because the most obvious thing here is for them to team up. The battle at Harrenhal would be the last battle in this war because Vhagar would have to go to that battle, and it would literally be like 6 or 7 dragons against 1. That's and then the war is over. That's pretty much it. You minimize casualties, and it is done for at that point. I don't think it's going to go down that way because I think somebody has to turn on Rhaenyra, and then we can talk about the last 2. Addam has a shit ton of blind ambition. Okay. In fact, I think we were put on to a little bit of foreshadowing, and Rhaenyra calls it out pretty well. She calls him out for bending the knee so quickly.
Yeah, I noticed that
on the beach. And I think that although he could be completely loyal, this is a guy who's yearning for his father's approval, who wants to make something of himself. And if he sees an opportunity where things are not going his way with Rhaenyra, he may go to the other side. And then unless you want to comment on Addam, I'm going to go to the last character who I don't think you consider.
No, I was just going to say, like, the reason I don't feel like Addam would go to the other side is because every time we've seen him in this show so far, like, he's always been trying to desire attention from his father more than I think anything else. And he finally got it. Like, he did. Like, you know, Corlys comes in and says, well done.
And he'd have to turn on his brother too.
Yeah. Like, I don't see that happening. Like, I don't feel like Addam ever hated Corlys or like, I don't get that.
No,
out of any of the interaction. I just feel like it was like, dude, notice me, like I'm your fucking kid.
Yeah.
But I think he finally got it.
He's almost maybe the lowest on my totem pole for turning on Rhaenyra. Obviously behind Jace. I also don't think Daemon turns on her, but we'll find out soon. And then I want to talk about Rhaena.
Okay.
Aemond needs a wife, and he needs dragons.
Yes.
Rhaena seems like she doesn't have like that much attachment to the Blacks
family. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see much interaction between her and Rhaenyra, and not even between her and her sister, really. She seemed very disgruntled to be sent away to the Vale. Maybe she's really pissed about that. Maybe she decides to, take her talents to King's Landing and, team up with Aemond over there. Because we're assuming Vermithor is the second largest dragon. I don't think we're taking into account Sheepstealer, right? So, yeah. I don't even know what Aemond does from here, honestly. I mean, when you find out that, because at the end of this episode, Aemond's flying to go after Silverwing, and you see this look of fear on Aemond's face because what does he see on Dragonstone? He sees Vermithor, he sees Syrax, and then Silverwing perching up, which is one of the most badass shots of the show.
That was epic.
It's obviously the thumbnail for the episode today, for sure. And yeah, it's just insane.
No, it's pretty epic. I'd be scared even with Vhagar at this point. So yeah, the Greens have Vhagar, they have Dreamfire, which is Helena's dragon, and then potentially Sunfire, according to what you mentioned, though he's just running around on 2 legs.
Yeah.
Like a little snake, but not very menacing. So let's be real. It's 2 on 7.
Pretty much.
It at best.
Is Dreamfire right? Is the one is Helena's?
Yeah, Dreamfire is Helena's.
Okay, and she's not gonna fight, so we can rule her out completely.
Yeah.
I just don't see her.
So it's 1 on 7. That's the reality. I mean, if we pull it in everybody, it's 1 on 7, and that's not including Joffrey's tiny little dragon that this tiny little man is riding.
Look, let's be honest. This is heading towards the direction where Rhaenyra loses. I just feel it in my bones. I feel like this is heading towards Game of Thrones direction, where you're rooting for Daenerys, you're rooting for Jon Snow, and then they have the craziest advantage ever, and they just piss it away. I just think we're heading in that direction. There's an eerie moment where Aemond, they're saying, dragon inside, and you hear the bells, and I just thought of the damn episode, The Bells.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And I just feel like we're heading there. I feel like we're heading towards 2 seasons of Rhaenyra slowly pissing away this advantage. Because it's honestly starting in a sense because she's now starting to lock out her advisors. and she's having this little secret affair with Myseria, which is a really annoying storyline. And the reason it's annoying is because she just made a plea to Corlys to be her hand, and now she's not showing up to meetings nor converse. We haven't seen her converse with Corlys once.
Yeah, okay, that's very true.
So it's like it feels very Game of Thronesy. Like, okay, she just made this giant plea for this guy to be her hand, and she's essentially made Myseria her hand. That is essentially what's going on, because Jace is onto her, by the way. He knows what's going on. So
yeah,
you never know. There might be a little struggle for power on the inside where Jace is like, she's not fit to be queen. Look at her. She's like freaking sleeping around with Myseria. Okay, who Lord knows what her ambition is here, right? Because I don't think she's necessarily somebody with zero ambition. We know this is somebody.
She's somebody that also hungers for power. Like, it's very true.
She claims that she no longer does, but she did at one point. I mean, the whole damn small folk listened to her, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't quite know if it's going to be more of a scenario of just like her pissing away her power over the next episode and next season, I guess. But I did have this feeling. I'm like, wow, like, the black side is really stacked right now. I feel like it's too much. I feel like we're in a position where we're bound to lose a very beloved character.
100%.
We don't know who it's gonna happen.
We are speed running towards losing, we're speed running towards losing Jace or Daemon. Like, that's what we're speed running towards right now, I think. And by the way, it may not be the Greens who kill him. It may be someone. I'm telling you, man. I think there's gonna be some, there's gonna be some infighting with the Blacks for sure.
I mean, just look at the rest of the Targaryen family. Like, the whole reason we're here is because of all of the infighting. So I wouldn't put it past anybody.
I mean, look, Aemond barely controlled Vhagar at the end. Sorry, I interrupted you there, but I immediately thought about that.
It's true. Aemond could barely. I mean, there's been many occasions where I feel like Aemond could barely control Vhagar. Like, I think even with the battle between him and Luke, right? Like, I feel like
100%.
Like, it was not intentional. It was 100% Vhagar that wanted to destroy that little dragon. No, I was just going to ask the question: if it came down to, one of these individuals dying, which one would you prefer, Jake or Daemon?
Well, there was moments in this episode when Rhaenyra pisses off her dragon priest. What do you call those people? I blanked on their name when I was making my notes, and I knew their name before the episode.
I had it on the tip of my tongue earlier too. I don't know.
They're like the Dragon Order,
Dragon Wranglers or something.
Yeah, no, that ain't it. But
I know it's not.
They speak Valyrian. She's pissed them off, so she has lost a faction there as well. And by the way, did you notice the egg? There's another dragon egg in the lair.
I did. The one that I thought Ulf crushed an egg. Did he crush an egg, or did he just step in like a soft spot?
I can guarantee you Silverwing doesn't pick Ulf if he crushes an egg.
That's I was surprised, but I was led to believe that he stepped on an egg. At least I was like, oh shit, he stepped on. I literally said it out loud.
He stepped on like whatever you call that thing. It's like a pod, but the egg was perfectly inside. Those dragon eggs are hard as hell. They're not like freaking chicken eggs.
I wonder if any of the dragon eggs, from this show, end up being the dragon eggs that
Yeah, they confirmed that already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the eggs that the kids take away to the Vale, those 3 eggs, those are the eggs that Daenerys gets.
They never hatch.
Yeah, they don't hatch for like 100-something years. Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's also not forget that Daenerys controlled 3 dragons. And in this show, you can really only control 1. So.
Yeah.
Daenerys,
well, there was only one Targaryen one that was close to them. So I don't know. Maybe that has some effect on it.
I have no idea.
I was still expecting Rhaenyra to kind of like just pick up another one at some point.
What do you mean pick up another one?
Pick up another dragon. Like, just wield 2.
Well, she sure controlled Vermithor. I mean,
Pretty well. Yeah, I was like, why doesn't she just hop on it?
That was the thing I was going to bring up. There was a moment there where I thought, what if the Vermithor just eats Rhaenyra right now and Jason's taking over? And for a moment, I was like, that would be really interesting. Really interesting. Because then at this point, now it's a full-on war between Jace and Daemon, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than likely is a full-on war.
Yeah.
Why? Because, let's be honest. Jace ain't pure Targaryen, right?
He's not. He's a bastard.
So
yeah, that too.
And let's think about it. Let's say Rhaenyra's not in the picture. You think Daemon's gonna pick Jace over one of his own like blonde-headed kids? Hell no.
No.
He's gonna choose a pure Targaryen. So
yeah.
What did you think of this scene with the dragon priest? We got to find out their name. We're gonna get roasted for not.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here.
They're the dragon priest for the episode.
It was good.
It was a bit much.
It was
like Rhaenyra should have. I was
expecting some outrage at some point. Go ahead.
She should have chased after him. She should have been like, "Listen, I totally agree with you. However, because of these two situations, right? Addam, the dragon picking Addam, okay, and what was the other scenario? I think that was the only one, right?
Well, it was the Kingsguard guy. From the last episode, they were upset about that.
Yeah, they were scarred about that. But let's not. I mean, we always talk about the Greens being bad, right? Rhaenyra essentially did a ritual sacrifice of like 100 people.
Oh, that was wild.
And she damn well knew that everybody was gonna burn except for maybe 2 of them, right? And she lies to them. So I think we gotta start looking at Rhaenyra like not as this perfect, leader type that they want to paint the blacks as just being good. Like, I mean, she's doing her thing for the crown too. Like, she sacrificed a hell of a lot of people and then blocked their exit, which is crazy.
Yes. It is wild. I was wondering how they were going to handle this because I'm like, there's no way we're going one by one because the first one isn't getting picked. No matter what, the first one's gone. I was not anticipating like 15 being burnt right away, but man, that was a hell of a massacre.
Daemon's gonna hate this idea. By the way, he's gonna be on Jace's side. Like, I don't see him, because the thing is, for him, when you see Hugh, who's a formidable figure, right? Hugh is a formidable adversary. Okay, Hugh becomes a threat, man. I'm sorry, but he may become a threat. I don't know how it'll happen, but Vermithor is not a joke. So, by the way, kudos to the crew. Man, they do a good job of hyping these dragon scenes. Like when Vermithor's pulling up and you hear the steps in the background, and man, that they do such a good job of that. So good.
They're dragon keepers.
Beautiful. Okay, the dragon keepers.
Yeah. I don't know why that evaded me so strongly.
Me too. Corlys and his bastard sons. We get the beautiful line of Alan who says he's salt and sea, which obviously brings to mind his conversation with Baela about needing to find a lord of Driftmark, right? Which is most certainly best suited for Alan. Addam, on the other hand, is the wild card. We don't know what the hell is going to happen with Addam, okay? He's not somebody who's just going to go with the flow on everything here. I think right now he's the new kid on the block. It's a honeymoon phase. He just got a brand new dragon for free. He essentially won the Westerosi Lotto, right? Okay? Didn't have to do much work. He was just on the beach, Sea Smoke got a little bit, fed up, impatient, and it just took matter into his own hands, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Addam. But what do you think about Corlys's approach with his sons? He just will not come out front and just say, my boy. But he sure seemed proud of Addam. I mean, and you can't help but see Addam and totally see Corlys, right? You see this guy who, and by the way, Corlys was hella ambitious. He is the richest man in the world, right? Has the biggest naval fleet in the world. Addam looks just like him. However, does he have the honor of Corlys, or is there some chinks in his armor?
I feel like that was a loaded question. I mean, what do I feel about the way that Corlys is a father to these individuals? I think he's a horrible father to these individuals.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I don't think it's just him being a douchebag. Like, I feel like this is just the way of the world. I mean, you see, like this is literally Rhaenyra's entire like idea here is about bringing in the bastards, bringing in the lowborns, I guess, into the fold, and that's really what Addam and Alan are to Corlys, right? Like, so they're people who typically aren't worthy in this world of being involved with the queen, with the hand, with anybody like this. So, I don't know how much of it is just really on him versus just like the culture of the time here.
He was all but offering Alan the opportunity at a dragon as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Alan turned it down. Let's be fair to Addam, though. Addam didn't go looking for sea smoke. He didn't think it was a possibility.
No.
So Addam was very much selected, ordained, to be a dragon rider.
Yeah.
They still have to learn how to be dragon riders. Might be a little premature to send them off to battle. However, they got about as much experience as Jake and Rhaenyra have in battle. So imagine sending all these guys out. They don't know any Velaryon to battle. I don't know. Do you even think we're going to get like a huge battle in the next episode?
Dude, I kind of hope so. Like, there's got to be something. I feel like I will legitimately be a bit disappointed if there's not some battle in the next episode. If it's just another big build to the next big step, it's going to be a little frustrating. Like I said earlier in the episode, I feel like we are due a very important, very beloved character's death. And I feel like it's going to be in the next episode. I don't think it would be Rhaenyra so soon, but
that would be crazy.
It would be crazy, but can you imagine if that were to happen and then we end up moving on to like a Daemon versus Aemond sort of storyline here?
No, I think Jake is gonna take matters into his own hands at a certain point because his mother has gone full rogue and doing what she wants to do, and at a certain point he does need to prove himself on the battlefield, and he feels altogether too much like Robb Stark. So
Yeah, that's a soft spot.
GG Jake. I don't think he survives whatever next battle he goes into. But
I don't think any of the Strong's children can really survive in this storyline in the show.
No, I agree. Let's pivot over to Harrenhal, where Daemon has made an absolute mess of the situation over there in Harrenhal.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I mean, we don't see Alice Rivers for the first time in many episodes. We don't see Alice Rivers, which is very interesting. Because she all but certainly killed Grover. Grover Tully.
Yeah.
Okay. Daemon has made a mess of the Brackens and Blackwoods rivalry by sending the Blackwoods to go commit atrocities.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a mess of disrespecting Sir Oscar, okay, who looks a lot like Ollie, who betrayed Jon in Game of Thrones. Looks a lot like him. I mean, looks like the same actor, to be honest. And by the way, brass balls on that kid. Brass balls. If Vermithor is the Bronze Fury, he's the Brass Fury. He's just pretty much telling Daemon to his face, like, you're a piece of crap. I don't respect you. But my father, or my grandsire, as he says, he swore an oath to Viserys and Rhaenyra, his named heir. So I got to stick with that. And everybody else respects that here. However, he also knows that he needs to settle the qualms and get rid of, make Willem Blackwood pay for what he did. Which sucks for Willem Blackwood, but Daemon has a choice here. Either have the River Lords fighting for him, which he absolutely needs, or keep his word. And he decides to get the army. So what happens there? I have no idea. And you have to wonder. By the way, the whole scene, I didn't know whether he was going to kill Willem Blackwood or if he was going to have a desperate moment and just kill Oscar Tully right there. Do something.
I don't think that would have won him anything though.
No,
that would have been if we didn't already think the deal was sealed and him not getting anybody from the Riverlands on his side. That definitely would have done it.
Yeah, but it's Daemon, so it could happen. Do you think Alice planted that last dream? Because that last dream felt like the end of like the therapy session. It felt like the very, very much end of her treatment of Daemon, the Viserys dream. It just thoughts on that. Hey, let's talk about the Oscar Tully situation first. What do you think about Daemon's approach, and where do you think this goes from here? Is this like a cut and dry? The River Lords are your host, my lord, or is this a ongoing issue between Daemon and the Tullys and all the River Lords?
I feel like it's going to kind of be clear cut and dry here. After this, I don't think we're going to see a lot of squabbling from the River Lords. Like I feel like this is it. Like they're gonna follow Sir Oscar Tully here.
Sir Oscar's got him by the balls.
Yeah, he does.
And he knows it. In the negotiating table, he knows he has him by the balls.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing worse. Because here's the thing. You've negotiated before. You've negotiated deals and stuff like that. The worst negotiation position you can be in is being in a position where you can't say no, where you need it.
Desperation. Yeah.
Desperation. And Oscar knows that Daemon is desperate here for an army. He's desperate. And he gets to a point where he pretty much has to break himself, right? That scene, which I didn't think was as serious as anything else. Like you would think that the baby being killed in the first episode of the season, that would have been the thing that really destroyed Daemon, right? But no, I think it's this. I think it's this guy's pledge to serve me. Like, what kind of leader would I be, if I'm chopping off the heads of the guys who I sent on a mission to do this crap, and now he's dying for it, right? I don't know. By the way, all in front of that weird old god's tree. All this is happening before that, right? So, yeah. How does this come into fruition? I can't imagine a scenario where Daemon survives this series, right? He has to die in the series of House of the Dragon. There's no way he survives.
I feel like there's a lot of people who have to just die in this show. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of bloodshed at some point. I know Rhaenyra wants to keep ending this war without any bloodshed, but I just don't see that happening.
She's so annoying.
Yeah, it seems extremely naive. I mean, just from the one battle alone that took place with 3 dragons, I guess.
Viserys did an absolute horrid job raising her up to be a leader. But then again, he wasn't the greatest leader either. He was a leader that got to benefit during peacetime, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's just so indecisive on just about everything. This is like one of the first few episodes where she's just decisive on everything. And there's some good that can come of it, but she also may have empowered some new enemies, Let's not forget, these 2 guys claim a dragon during a ritual where she pretty much sent like 100 people to their death, right? And she lied about it in the pregame speech. So, do you really going to trust that woman at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, she may care about them now, because I don't think Rhaenyra is a horrible person, but she was willing to sacrifice them for her power to get the crown. So, I don't think that this is a cut and dry, we will serve you to our death, Rhaenyra. I think at a certain point, Vermithor sees Vhagar. Maybe Hugh's like, wait a minute. Me and Vhagar? We could probably win the war by ourselves,
Yeah, but if you were Hugh, would you want to serve Aemond and work with Aemond? Like,
dude, Aemond treats his top dudes all right.
Really? Like, where's the money then?
That's true. Well, Aemond didn't know about that promise. Actually, I take it back. He doesn't really treat his top guys all right. Everybody's scared.
He treats
crap with
everybody like shit. He gets them to do what he wants them to do.
Yeah, I miss
Look
Red
at
Aemond.
Kristen Cole, yeah.
It's so unnecessary too, right? Because Aemond shows that he's a good wartime leader for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, his own little committee is committing treason against him pretty much by not letting him know that there's multiple dragon riders. Let's not forget that fact.
Well, they only knew of the one.
Yeah,
Smoke at the time, at the very least.
That's a pretty big deal because that means
it is a big deal.
That means that they found a way to claim more of the dragons, and he knows that there's a couple more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does he wait that long? Does he wait that long to go to the castle? No, I don't think so. And I don't know what Larys thinks is gonna happen here. Does he think that he's gonna find himself like in the arms of an angel if Rhaenyra takes over?
Oh, I feel like he thinks he could probably smooth that relationship out or something. I'm sure he thinks that deep down he's a very slithery, slimy human being.
Yeah, but Rhaenyra knows, or I think she knows, that he's responsible for her lover dying. Remember, he's the one who killed Harwin Strong and the father. So I don't know if that gets smoothed over, buddy.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think she's gonna like him, but I mean, he's a weasel. He'll figure out a way to try and be buddy with whoever's in power. Do you think he believed the story of Sea Smoke being conquered?
Yes,
and he didn't tell Aemond because he was afraid of Aemond.
He's on the full camp of getting Aegon back to health. That's the camp he's on right now.
Who, by the way, looks a lot like Viserys.
He looks like
on
an old
his
man.
deathbed. Yeah,
he looks like Bilbo Baggins when he goes to grab the ring from Frodo. There's like a moment where he transforms into this horrifying creature. He's pretty much an old man at this point, right?
Yeah.
I just don't even know if Larys so much as he wants to believe in Aegon being transformed after this experience so badly, but that remains to be seen how Aegon comes back from this, right?
Yeah.
Alicent goes out to the Kingswood. Presumably, she's considering taking her life.
That's what I thought.
She's really thinking about it here, and she has this awakening moment. And I think the awakening moment has to be for her. Like, my job is not done. I got my son on the throne. That was my mistake. I need to do it, make it right. And she has a very key conversation with her brother Segwayne in the previous episode where she hears about her son that she's never really met, Daeron, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Daeron, or Daeron, however they pronounce it, Gwaine says he's kind, he's good with the sword, he plays, an instrument. I think he says he's tall and good looking, that he doesn't lack for suitors, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, he's just kind. That's the big thing. He's kind, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be her life's mission to get that kid on the throne, like to make things right in whatever way she can.
Of usurpers,
because she's the one who made this mess, right? She's the one who made the mess.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like with that decision, you were just digging the hole deeper, man.
Who?
Alicent.
By doing what?
Well, she got Aegon on the throne by usurping the throne. Then
yes,
Aemon has sort of ascended the throne by kind of usurping the throne in many ways. And now we might get Daeron on the throne. That's just... That's not a family I'd want to hang with.
Yeah, there's a lot to still shake out amongst the Greens. They're the only ones who are having internal struggles for power. I mean, other than Daemon calling himself king over in Harrenhal, but
I think that's a pretty serious struggle for power.
Yeah. And by the way, Sir Otto just not responding to ravens, so we don't know where he is. He's supposed to be in Highgarden. We don't know where he is though. So I would love to see Otto before the season ends. And you think about this season, a whole lot of nothing has happened in this season other than setup. So yeah. I mean, and I'm okay with that. I think it's just going to be a lot of character arc building and stuff like that. I mean, Daemon's been tripping in Harrenhal for at least 5 episodes, maybe 6.
It's at least 5.
Yeah. And by the way, I cannot, compliment Matt Smith anymore. I mean, we are almost 2 seasons into this and we don't know what side Daemon's on.
Mm-mm. Daemon's on Daemon's side.
You can fully see him being for Rhaenyra. You can fully see him going his own way. I mean, you could see, there's just a million things. You could fully see him go his own way, get the crown, and then run off to another country. I mean, he's so good. I mean, he's just fantastic. He's definitely got the role of a lifetime with this one.
Oh yeah. The fact that he can make us love a character so much who's so horrible.
Yeah.
Is incredible. Like, Daemon is not a nice guy.
Oh, not at all.
I mean, he's about unhinged as Aemond seems. He's just a lot more sneaky about it.
We can let's talk about Aemond, right? Let's talk about Aemond.
All right.
The worst thing Aemond did was try to kill his brother, which is not a good thing.
He also accidentally killed Luke.
Accidentally. That one, I don't really blame it on Aemond. Well, yeah, I do. But it wasn't as intentional as the Aegon one.
Yeah.
Okay. He fires his mother off the committee, right?
Yeah, the council, yeah.
I thought that was deserved, to be honest. You got her, who's constantly against everything he says for the most part. She's pretty much made terrible decisions across the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. I mean, she's having an affair with Cole. I mean, she put her son Aegon on the throne. And she weirdly kind of wants the throne for herself, right? She kind of liked taking over for Viserys, right? She was petitioning to be the queen regent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was okay with him doing that. He calls out Larys for having the character flaw of not being loyal to his family, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a valid concern. He wants his grandfather back, who he admits is very cautious, more cautious than he is, but at least he's loyal to his family. So he kind of sees these things, right? And he's kind of assessing people correctly for the most part. He finds the guys who started the riots in the city for the food. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't kill them. He sends them to the wall. That's a fair punishment, I'd say. If you're in his position, he could have killed them. He could have hung them like his brother did all the rat catchers, right?
Yeah.
But no, he decides to spare their lives. So, I mean, what has he done? And by the way, you could argue that he killed Aegon because Aegon's an absolute mess and would have, led ruin to the kingdom, right? So maybe he was doing that, I mean, selfishly so he could take the throne, but you could argue it was the right move for the realm.
Yeah. I mean, you could also argue that he sent all of those other individuals to their death and kind of sacrificed. I mean, he held back quite a long time during the battle, in the Crownlands.
Yes, but remember, Aegon ruined that battle. That was a perfect plan by him and Kristen Cole.
Yes, but
he could have disclosed it to Aegon.
Well, that, and he could have just rode his dragon in as well and not had everybody be burnt alive.
This is true. But he was trying to lure Rhaenyra there, or Meleys, and he was successful in that. So, it worked. And, for him, he was trying to kill two birds with one stone. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that, aside from the whole Aegon business, has he been that bad?
Well,
or is it just a bunch of self-interested people taking issue with the guy who's not putting up with self-interested people? Alicent, who wants to be queen regent, who nominates herself pretty much. Larys, who tries to weasel his way almost to hand of the king. Okay. I mean, he's putting everybody in their place for the most part. So,
yeah.
Really, what has he done that's that horrible?
When you compare him directly to
a good case.
An individual like Daemon, I get it. His offenses are less numerous, but let's
Daemon
not
smashed his wife's head in with the rock.
All right, but hold on, Mario. Let's not lose sight of the fact that Aemond is barely a man, And Daemon is like 40 something years old. He's maybe a little more than that. Like he's had a lot of years under his belt to go murder his wife and
so you're
betray his
saying-
family and
okay.
do all of this. So
Got
like I
Got
mean,
it.
if you were to let Aemond progress over time, I like
So you're saying
those
it's
two
just
are it's kind of a toss up, I think.
So you're saying give Aemon 2 or 3 more decades, and he probably has a dead wife, a couple dead kids.
I would not put it past him.
All right.
Like I mean, shit,
fair.
he tried to kill his brother. Like
Fair. It is true. Once you cross that line, what else won't you do?
Yeah.
So I agree. What I'm trying to say is that up till now, he hasn't just been killing people left and right. You know.
No, tick for tack. He has not committed as many atrocities or whatever you would want to call it.
He's like a more decisive Daemon. Daemon, even if they offer him the crown, I think is going to be indecisive about it. You know, Aemon's like, I'm much more prepared. I'm a damn better king than this guy. And he kind of just takes it. And to be honest, does he even take it if Aegon doesn't humiliate him at the brothel? You know, does he try to kill his brother if that doesn't occur? You never know.
I don't know. I have felt like in every part of this season, while Aegon was on the throne, that Aemon knew he should be on the throne. And there were scenes before that whole brothel thing where they were both like fighting each other. I mean, there was I forget the episode early in the season, but it was when they were trying to find Aegon to, well, usurp the throne at that point. So it was at the beginning of the season.
He was missing, yeah.
He was missing, and like I feel like he nearly killed him at that point because he knew he could. I mean, he would be the king. So yeah, definitely possible.
Right. I think we covered just about everything. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think I've covered most of my thoughts on this one. Great episode, man. I'm really looking forward to next week, and I'm also saddened that next week will be the final episode of the season. Like we're gonna have to wait a year or 2 years for the next for the next season. It's wild.
Well, Zach, I mean, the positive news is that although we have to wait another year for House of the Dragon, more than likely, maybe more than a year, we do have some good news.
Oh, what is it? Please do tell.
Well, we have Silo season 2 coming back November of this year, so you can get ready for our coverage to Return of Silo, our 2-episode type coverage where we do instant reactions and deep dives. And we got some stuff we want to plan for the Silo coverage. That's how most of you found this podcast in the first place, was our coverage of Silo. So we're looking forward to that, and we welcome you back to the show whenever it does come back out. We also have Severance coming back out in January, which I know that's a show that has been widely requested by lots of our audience members, and one that we've talked about off air to want to cover. And I also would like to do a kind of recap episode of the final episode of Presumed Innocent. Did you finish Presumed Innocent this week?
No, I haven't. I trailed off on episode 3, not because of a lack of interest, just other priorities came up.
All right, well, binge watch that after House of the Dragon's done, and we'll do a wrap-up episode of that, of who the killer was, and we'll talk about that and just how the whole season went.
All right, I'm excited for that.
All right, so leading into the next episode of House of the Dragon, we are left with a lot of dragons on Rhaenyra's side, Daemon securing an army, the armies of the Lannisters eventually going to march to Harrenhal, Aemond realizing there's more dragons to deal with now, okay, Alicent having a newfound purpose, Addam also having a newfound purpose and a new, who knows what the hell he's going to do. Otto and the mysterious son Darren, who we hopefully get introduced to. And yeah.
Great stuff. Shall we get into some categories?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do favorite characters of the episode. 2 really stood out to me on this one.
I'm going to go Hugh.
That's my number 2.
Yeah, my other one is probably Oscar Tully.
That's my number 1.
He was good. He stole scenes. He stole scenes.
100%. And leading into favorite scenes, my favorite scene, like number 1, was just the entire like dialogue between Sir Oscar Tully and Daemon. Like I loved that. I loved kind of seeing Daemon put in his place a little bit there. It was great. That mixed with Hugh conquering Vermithor, I think just has to be the number 2.
Yeah, I think my favorite scene was the whole lead up to Hugh getting the dragon from this first sacrifice to everybody getting burned alive. I thought that was terrific.
Yeah.
Definitely my favorite scene.
Very well done. How about favorite lines? This wasn't a very line heavy show to me. There's a couple things that I was like, interesting. Anything stand out to you?
The one Larys says to Ironrod where he says, maybe this whisper is better off getting lost in the wind. I thought that was an interesting one.
When I was hearing that story, I was just thinking the song, I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend. There was like 10 people down that line. Yeah. Oh, man, that was something else. Any other lines?
No, that's all I can think of.
Mine was just well done from Corlys.
Oh, Jesus. I knew you were going to do that.
I mean, I got finally, like, come on. Finally got something. That and
I knew it.
Rhaenyra.
I knew.
It's such a simple one. I mean, why not?
You're the king of calling out those quotes that the line is just like a one word. Like, yeah.
I also liked earlier on in the episode, Rhaenyra I can't remember the entire line of what she was saying, but she like made a comment. She was like, "An army of bastards." I thought that was going to be the name of the episode, not the Red Sowing, but I was mistaken.
I'm shocked that Ulf has a dragon. I'm just absolutely shocked.
By the way, the Silverwing, Ulf's dragon, was the dragon. It was Alicent's dragon. It's the wife of King Jaehaerys.
Really? So Silverwing's old as hell.
Well, I mean, Vhagar's like a lot older. So
hold on. Not King Jaehaerys. You mean Viserys?
No, I mean Jaehaerys.
Jaehaerys, the one who gave the crown, who named Viserys' heir?
Yeah.
So Silverwing's old.
Yeah, but not as old as Vhagar.
not many are as old as Vhagar.
Yeah. But yeah, Silverwing's an older one.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, that was the only fun fact I had from this.
All right, ladies and gents, thank you for tuning into this episode. Zach, I'll throw it to you for your outro, sir.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of House of the Dragon. You can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Apple and Spotify podcasts primarily. You can visit us on YouTube at Soapbox Podcast Network. Visit our website at soapbox.house. Email us at contact@soapbox.house. And we do have a link in the description below for our newsletter.
Remember, you can comment on Spotify now. Leave us some comments on the episodes if you so please. And as always, make sure to like, rate, and review the show on all platforms, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Thank you. Have a great week. See you for the finale next Sunday. Peace.